Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Timothy Lee, and I'm a mining analyst here at Red Cloud Securities. We welcome Scott Hicks, VP Corporate Development, and also on the line is Marshall Koval, CEO of Luminex Resources. Scott will speak to us about the company's flagship Condor project and its portfolio of other exploration projects in Ecuador. Scott, you have 15 minutes, and then we'll have a 5-minute Q&A at the end of the session. And attendees, please feel free to ask questions using the Q&A link below. Take it away, Scott.
Great, thanks, Tim. Appreciate the intro and the support with your research. So today, I'll just walk you guys through where we're at today with the portfolio and how things are going in Ecuador. So as some of you probably know, we've got a mix of copper and gold in the company. So on the copper side of things right now, we've got 3 earn-in partnerships. We have BHP, who's been working there for a while. They're drilling with 2 rigs right now. They're currently doing a 5,000 meter program at our Target project. They're earning into 60% on that. We've got Anglo American, who's been working on the Pegasus project for quite a while as well. They're spending $57 million to earn into 60% on that. And they're at a 25% ownership level right now. They're planning a 5,000 meter program for later this year. So they should start drilling there hopefully in Q3. And then just between Christmas and New Year's, we announced an earn-in with Jogme, which is a Japanese government entity, to drill our Arcadius project just to the south of Condor. So we just started drilling there actually in the last week, and that's now ongoing. So that's a 2,500 meter drill program, and they're spending $7 million to earn 70% of that project. So, across all 3 partnerships, and obviously Jogme just started, but we've seen $28 million come in the door between cash payments and money in the ground to advance these projects. So a very material amount of money. And if everyone went to completion on their earnings, it would be $105 million US between 2018 and 2025. So very substantial commitments on the copper side of the portfolio. And then in the meantime, we've been working on the Condor property, which is our 6.6 million ounce gold project. We put a PEA out on that last year. It's at the time it was a $400 million NPV at $1,600 gold. It's about 190,000 ounces of production a year for a 12-year mine life. And we've been drilling in and around that area recently and should have some results out soon on that. And then at Cascas, which we own 100% of, we've been advancing some copper targets there that I can show you in a couple slides. So just on corporate structure quickly, we're sitting at $44 million market cap today. As of September, we had about $7 million US in the balance sheet. Research-wise, Haywood covers us as well as Red Cloud. This is a Lumina Group company, which was founded by Ross Beatty. So, we're obviously Ross is a substantial holder of the company as well as management, about 26% ownership. We have some other lumpy holders, a group of Ecuadorian businessmen, 14% ownership, and Route 1 out of San Francisco, which holds 10% of the company. So, about 50% of the stock is held by 3 groups that continue to support the company, financing after financing. And obviously, all of our projects here are in Ecuador. We continue to think this is an excellent jurisdiction. We think it continues to improve. We saw a new government come in 2021. The president has been very vocal about supporting mining and supporting a pipeline of mining projects. GDP now is about 4% comes from mining in Ecuador, now that these 2 large mines, Fruta del Norte and Mirador, are online. And they've seen the positive benefits of that in and around those mines. So, it's definitely been a focus for the government, and I think at the federal level they'll continue to be supportive, and we think we're in the best areas of Ecuador to drive projects forward, with our Condor project just being right below Fruta del Norte and Mirador there. And then aside from that, we've seen all the copper players obviously come into country, and activity is continuing to pick up. So this is just our portfolio here on the right. You can see, aside from Pegasus A and Pegasus B, which is our Anglo partnership, the rest of the projects really are a long trend with Mirador, Fruta del Norte, Warrenza, which is Solaris, along the Peruvian border there. And we think this is one of the best areas to be in Ecuador. This is a zoom in of that area. So just kind of top to bottom quickly to help orient people, we've got the Target project at the top. So that's where BHP is currently drilling with 2 rigs. We've got Kimi, which we own 100% of below. Then you've got the Newcrest Lundin JV, the Mirador mine, Fruta's land package, and they're, aside from the Fruta mine itself, they're continuing to work their way south with their exploration programs right now. That leads into our Condor project, which is contiguous with Fruta, and then their JV with Newcrest as well. Orchidius, where we're joining with the Japanese, and then Cascas, where we've got our copper projects. And then, out to the west, you've got Fortescue and SolGold. So this is by far the busiest area in Ecuador. Probably seen about, $3 billion of capital put into this area in the last, 5 to 7 years. So just talking about Condor quickly, we're sitting at 6.6 million ounces right now. About 135,000 meters of drilling has happened on this property. One thing worth mentioning that's a recent announcement, we just increased our ownership from 90% to basically 99% on the project. And we did that without any cash or shares, with just, converting some intercompany loans and diluting our partner there. So, on a $400 million MPV, we've picked up another 9% of that for free, which I think, the market may have missed when we announced that. So that's positive for sure. I'm just getting into the resources here and helping people look at the different areas. So these 4 red stars up in the north, that's Condor North. That's where the PEA was done. So that's the Camp deposit, which is an underground target. It's about 3.5 grams per ton gold. You've got Cuya, Soledad, and Enma, which are all lower grade open pits, kind of between about 0.6 and 0.8 on the gold. So the PEA looked at blending all these assets together. We just put out an exploration press release talking about all the different targets of the project, but outside of Condor North, where we have some drill results pending, we think there's lots of exciting areas. We've been working to get access just with trails and different construction into the Permetador area. That's a gold target that could add to Condor North. We've got El Hito and Walwenza Alto, which is a copper porphyry area. El Hito had been drilled previously, had some interesting results kind of in the 0.4% copper area, and we've done lots of soil work working that area north for drill targets. And then we've got Santa Barbara, which is a gold copper porphyry there, about 0.5 on the gold, 0.1% on the copper, but has been drilled pretty substantially, so a lot of that resource isn't indicated. So we've got that asset in the center of Condor. So there's a lot going on in this property, and we're continuing to prioritize and figure out how to add value here. This is just a look at the PEA. As I said earlier, about 12 years of production, 190,000 ounces per year. Costs are pretty reasonable at $840 an ounce AISC. This is about $600 million to build a 25,000 ton per day facility. And that was a 16% IRR at $1,600 gold and $21 silver, but a $400 million MPV. At 1760 gold, that goes up to about $560 million of MPV. And what we're doing right now is drilling some areas that could add to the high grade underground side of things. So right now, the underground fades off in about year 8 of the 12-year mine life. So we're hoping that drilling there can enhance that. We're also going to be drilling some satellites that may add more bulk tons and drive the mine life past the 12 years as well. So there's lots of room to enhance this in our view, and we're going to continue to work up in this Condor North area. This is just a quick site plan here. We've got the Cuyas pit, the Soledad pit, the Enma pit, and then a processing plant in the center. So just helping people understand, how these deposits come together for the 25,000 ton per day facility. So this is some of the drilling we're doing on the exploration side. We've got a Camp Northwest step out target here. It's actually not circled, but right next to Los Cuyas is where we've drilled a step out hole here on a high grade underground target. We've got, some step out we could do at Camp down towards the Soledad Baja area. And then Permetador, which is about, 3.5 kilometers away. So, this is an area that's going to be multiple deposits and all feeding a central plant, kind of on a hub and spoke model. And then, the last thing that we have 100% of here is Cascas. We drilled about 2,000 meters last year at the Jogme Target. We were successful in hitting copper porphyry, grades kind of up to 3.3% CuEq. Now, since then, we've developed this HAPA target more. This is about a 400 ppm soil contour you're seeing here. So this is a kind of we call it a bullseye copper porphyry target at HAPA. We're waiting for some trenching results we've done there recently, and we could be drilling that later this year if we elect to do so. Or obviously, as is our history, we would entertain, partnership offers if people were interested in working on this from the copper perspective. This is just a quick summary of some of the sampling we've done and the porphyry intrusion here at Cascas. So just moving to BHP, they've spent $10.4 million in the ground and paid us $1.1 million in cash payments, since they started in 2019. They've been drilling up here in the north of Tarki. So I'll just flip to that map. They put 3 holes in that we've announced so far. Those 3 holes were successful in hitting about 700 meters of porphyry from surface. It was all lower grade. It was about between 0.15 and 0.2% copper. So a technical success in hitting the porphyry in the first 3 holes. Now they're working on vectoring into try to find higher grade at the area. So they're doing a 5,000 meter program right now with 2 rigs. So we'll have drill results coming out from that later this quarter or early in the second quarter this year. And then there's Anglo American. They've spent 13.9 million in the ground and 2.4 million in cash payments to us since they started in 2018. They're going to be working to drill with 1 team at Pegasus A. So I'll just flip to this page here where it shows the Medusa prospect. That's where they're planning to drill 5,000 meters starting in Q3 with 1 of their teams. And then they're going to have a second team in the field that's going to work to prioritize these other 7 porphyry targets. So, I mean, this is a massive land package. This is, for context, and those of you who follow Lumina Gold, this is, 10 times larger than the Lumina Gold land package. So it's very substantive. And there's 8 porphyry targets here. And we think Anglo is going to be working here for a long time. This is just a look at the magnetics and Z-Temp for the Medusa target that they plan on drilling. So a pretty classic porphyry intrusion. And then, lastly in the portfolio, we've got Jogme. We're drilling 2,500 meters here on Arcadius with them. You can see the targets on the right-hand figure. Those are the 5 holes they're planning at 500 meters a hole. This property was previously drilled with First Quantum. So they're looking at drilling some different areas than where we drilled with First Quantum and seeing if we can find a higher grade area of the porphyry there. So that's ongoing right now. So in summary, we've got Condor North, $400 million NPV. We think that more than underpins the value of the company. 6.6 million ounces of gold at Condor, and a lot of priority targets that we'll look to get back to here in 2022. And then we've got the 3 earn-ins with 2 partners drilling now and 1 partner drilling later this year. So that's all money that's going into the ground that we're not having to raise. And then outside of that, we've got an additional 20,000 hectares that we still are working on in the company. So it's a big portfolio. There's lots of work to do. We're excited about what we've got so far and the partners we've been able to bring in. And we'll look to continue to bring more success to shareholders here. And with that, maybe I'll take questions. And I know Marshall's on the line as well, so he's happy to take questions as well. Thanks, Tim.
Good, absolutely. Thank you very much, Scott, for the informative presentation. I'll now move on to the Q&A session. I guess one question kind of to start off, when would you expect to have drilling results from Arcadius?
Yeah, that's a good question. So lab's been running about 2 months. ALS has been running about 2 months right now. So obviously we just started drilling. It's probably in that area, kind of, 50 meters a day of progress on 500 meter holes. So, it's probably going to be, I would imagine, late Q2 would be my guess.
Great. And also with BHP and their drilling program, obviously they're drilling now. When, obviously it's kind of in their hands, but when might you expect additional results from there?
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping we could put a batch of, call it 4 or 5 holes out in early Q2.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott, you might add, and I think you mentioned it earlier, they have 2 drill rigs going right now. So hopefully we'll get some pretty good flow here soon.
Great. And looking at the PEA, kind of following up there, what are some opportunities that you see, obviously potentially adding with the drill rig and adding further mineralization? Are there other opportunities there to optimize kind of the economics of that project?
So obviously the drill bit is the first place to do it. Scott mentioned the drilling of a potential higher grade zone just to the west of Kuyas pit that was part of the mine plan. So if we can bring some more higher grade ounces in there, and then the camp zone is still open too. So we're looking at some additional drilling in the camp zone. And then what we're going to do is look at some further metallurgy to see if we can optimize the flow sheet that we're looking at. Remember, about 2,500 tons per day comes from the underground and the balance comes from the open pit. So one of the things we'll look at is there any other optimization of the capital that we can do and meet the same sort of economics or better for the project.
Yeah. I mean, we're aware that, the 600 million capital is obviously a big build in general. So anything we could do to shrink the plant size, and obviously finding more high grade helps with that. And, I mean, the last thing we're looking at, and it's real early days, is just the, whether you could leach some of the gold that's there, and if that might change the way you look at the project. But it's real early days on that.
Yeah, and then the last thing I'd add to that is when we put this together, we didn't look at a phased approach to building it with, from a capital perspective. What we did is we looked at starting at the camp zone and simultaneously opening up the Los Cuyas pit. So now we may step back and look at if we can get a bit more of higher grade material from the camp zone or this new Cuyas area, that maybe you stage the project a little bit differently and end up with lower initial capital to start and then expand later.
Great. And looking around also on the Condor project, it recently had some information about plans for Santa Barbara and the kind of the porphyries that are in the center of the project. Can you tell us a little more about what you're seeing there?
So Scott, I'll go ahead and handle this. So at El Hito, Scott mentioned during the presentation that there were several holes drilled there and they were around 0.4, some of the better holes, long intercepts of 0.4 copper. We've done a lot of field work between Santa Barbara, or excuse me, El Hito and Juan Huitza Alta, which is kind of to the northwest. And we're looking at other potential porphyries in the area. And this diagram here kind of shows it. And what we're not quite sure is if El Hito and Juan Huitza Alto, we were previously calling Juan Huitza Alto silica cap, if that's part of the same porphyry system or if there's a porphyry cluster there too. So we've done a lot of work in surface mapping, and it looks like we're starting to develop a potential pure copper molybdenum porphyry type target between El Hito and Juan Huitza Alta. So hopefully as that work continues and we define drill targets, hopefully we'll be in there drilling it later in the year, at least some initial holes.
Great. And one final question here. Are new technologies such as artificial intelligence useful for you for locating drill targets?
Wow. I know I don't have a good solid answer for that. I haven't been asked that question before. Some people would say my intelligence is artificial at times, but I don't know, Scott, do you got a view on that?
No, I mean, we haven't dabbled much in that. I mean, the most kind of advanced thing we've been doing was really flying ZTEM over all the properties to give us a sense of where there might be, you know, good porphyry targets across all the properties, but no artificial intelligence yet.